Hello everybody, this is Simon with the 11th episode of Let's Play Mega Man 3. 2 down, 2 to go, and with your last vote I've got one hell of a stage to deal with. Except to see some failures here, anything else wouldn't do it justice. Doc Needle is fairly brutal. Oh hey, it's nighttime now. It might be the biggest visual change in all of the Dog Robot stages, and I quite like it. It sets the atmosphere really nicely. As said, this stage is really hard, but all in all, it still sets a good mood, just like the rest of the game. And great, as I said, time and time again, graphical improvement from Mega Man 2. We can see very clearly here that the needles are now far harder to deal with. The health pellet is a very nice gift of the developers. Helps a great deal if you know where to stand, of course. The edges aren't that hard to reach, I think. All in all though, you could just power through it as your health gets refilled. Now you might wonder why I didn't just turn around here to kill the rocket. Well, it didn't serve me quite well in testing, because turning around, as mentioned, is not all that easy in that game. Also, what I show off here, if you jump constantly on the rush jet, weapon energy consumption is really low. Almost non-existent. Makes this weapon this item even more broken. But it is kind of needed, and we'll see exactly why later. Just in case topspin. But I didn't miss any of the jumps. Now, a refight again. And we've got Sparkshot as a weakness. This might tell you something about the quality of the refight. No, really, this guy, Airman of course, I don't like Airman all that much, because he has fairly undodgeable tornadoes in the original. Here, you've got a few configurations that you can now dodge because of the slide. The problem is he gains more that you cannot dodge, and you cannot exploit the trick of standing behind him anymore, because Dog Robot, as mentioned already, is far bigger. It's all dependent on luck, really. I had a nice fight where I didn't get hit at all, showing just how well the slide can deal with, well, exactly one configuration here. And this is but just an ideal run. I wanted to give you an idea of how it could go, but most of the time you will get hit a lot, like I did here, and this spells very bad things for the rest of the stage. So what's coming up now is a very big forced item usage section. In theory I wouldn't mind it all that much, because it is really fun. Flying around with the jet all the time while dodging those enemies, this makes this a kind of completely new game, and I definitely like the idea. It also is quite generous with the weapon pickups, so if you don't dawdle too much, you shouldn't have any kind of problems. It really goes to great showing how very good Rush Jet is. This section here could be a bit tricky, but you can just remember to park Rush Jet at a real good location and do this. Also, I don't really know what hit me here. Maybe the screen scrolling bug that I showed off shortly in Mega Man 1 is still in effect here. And I got hit by one of the Parasius, or however they're called, on the bottom of the screen. Anyway, I'm kind of low on life now, which is kind of unavoidable, because there is no way to farm life from those guys that fall down. And there is a somewhat tricky mini-boss coming up. This flying Met guy here, I've not found a very good strategy to deal with him yet. I think his weakness should be Hard Knuckle, because it kills him in 4 hits, but it's nearly impossible to hit with consistently. Also, oh yeah, turning around. Yeah, this is a big problem, as I've mentioned before. But the biggest problem here, excuse a jump cut, I thought I was completely boned here, but why not show this off? I have now very low Rush Jet energy with just the last pickup that I got there right at the end, providing any really, and if I didn't know this trick here or didn't execute it almost perfectly, not that I want to ring on my bell or anything, I would be completely screwed because there is absolutely no way to pick up more rush jet energy. I mean, I could theoretically farm on the first two enemies that appear over solid ground, but really I don't think that's all that much of a desirable option. Meaning that, yeah, this is really, really close, and most of the time you just won't make it, forcing you into a game over. This is a serious design oversight, and I really don't like it. The whole stage is kind of flawed in that concept, in that respect, but it's really obvious here because airmen will hit you most of the time pretty badly, meaning you will die afterwards with a quite good chance, and dying means more or less a game over if you don't conserve rush jet energy. Anyway, I do hit him with the hard knuckle here, but yeah, this means you have nothing to defend against the mats, because hard knuckle isn't really good to deal with a lot of enemies that would die in one hit anyway. This battle isn't too hard or anything, because you can just wail away on the guy, but if he decides to stay up and shoot his bubbles all the time, well, you're in for a very tedious fight. Interestingly though, I think you might remember that I mentioned that there were giant mad heads buried in the floor in the original of the stage. Yeah, they're out now. Those little touches can really make a game for me. As I said, atmospherically, this stage is really great. Also, we've got a new enemy here, and correct me if I'm wrong, but this might be the only enemy that's exclusively new to the Rock Robot stages. Magnet Missile might actually not be a really good weapon here. Also, Gemini Laser against this guy is a very poor choice. I've lobbed a bit here, I apologize. Just to show that it's not a be-all end-all, Shadow Blades would be far more advisable in this situation, because they're just more flexible. Dealing with fast-moving enemies is not exactly Magnet Missile's forte. And another one of those guys, yeah. There were two mad heads buried in the original of the stage, obviously. And the slowdown doesn't help though. Anyway, if you keep your cool here, this shouldn't be any problem. The real big problematic part of the stage is just the rush jet section after airman. And we even get finally a weapon pickup here, a health pickup here. The upcoming fight, it's not too hard, the problem is just Crashman was far easier when no upward shooting weapon was his weakness. I'll miss the first shot here, and actually my first recording was pretty much perfectly on this stage, but afterwards I just missed shot after shot against this guy, because a hard knuckle is really not ideal to deal with him. I mean, you could devise a good pattern to make him jump into it, like here, downwards, but yeah, I haven't found a good way, and I really don't want to practice too much on those guys anyway. Fortunately, we've got topspin as his secondary weakness. See an interesting glitch here the first time. Topspin's energy drained far faster than it should. I will mention this later more. For now, this was Simon of Let's Play Mega Man 3, and thank you very much for your attention.